Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Jody Baird, known as America's top foundational health coach. It is my privilege and honor to bring you another episode of Life's Milkshake Moments. Life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely, and when you do, life will be oh so sweet. For those of you that tune into this broadcast, I applaud you. I thank you for coming back and hearing our message of health, living, and hope in the foundational six, all 6 pillars of human existence, starting with spiritual, which we're going to be talking about tonight, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial, which we will be talking about tonight too, because our guest is a health and wealth coach. She hits it off from spiritual wealth going down to financial wealth, because people that are spiritually sound, y'all, good people do good things with their money now, don't they? So the context of Life's Milkshake Moment is just this. When you choose, I've said this before, your ingredients wisely, your life will be oh so sweet. It is a choice. My background is one of 4 decades, and my 30,000 clients at this time have achieved over 1 million pounds of toxic fat lost, because no food tastes as good as health feels. And also, in the COVID era, I'm honored and privileged to say that over 3,000 client patients have reclaimed, rejuvenated, and restarted their lives. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The good news is that the next pounds, the next health can be yours. So let's begin knowing that health isn't something you do, it's what you become along life's journey. My vision at 69 now, oh so fine. I told my friends and family when I turned 69 last month, I'm 60 done. I'm done, because the one thing I'm not done with is continuing to empower individuals to create their lives in a pristine, clean vitality. What I am doing that now with the next generation. The key to my success is simple. It's a simple, effective, and sustainable process. Simple tools that you can do all the time for the rest of your life to heal from your poop. Yes, I talk about it, to your brain. Why is that important? Because that's where all diagnosis, and it happens from your poop. All right. Now that we've gotten that covered, my focused emotion and my emotional and spiritual calling, I believe, must be from and has been from the heart. As Helen Keller went on to say, I will never be at mercy to my emotions because I am spiritually sound. That is evidenced in my own life's milkshake moments. You know, this little Jody from small town Montana, I discovered the magic of health, the magic of health coaching. Why? Because I was spiritually called, I believe, at this milkshake moment of my life. I had this surprise. All of a sudden, we were pregnant. It's my firstborn, my unborn baby. I wanted to give him the best start in life. Well, 2 years later, what I found, that I needed to do this for yet another. And you will find that with yourself. And in these moments, you will hear Helen Levine talk. I will do it for myself. Then I said, I'm going to do it for another, because my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic and liver cancer. They gave her 6 weeks to live. And I found holistic remedies when then 2 years later, I had 2 babies in diapers. And with these holistic remedies, I was able to give her not 6 weeks length of life, but nearly 3 years, way beyond her 6 weeks to live diagnosis, because That is hope. Hope is the spiritual pillar of this. She broke through chains that she had that were unbelievable, even at her end stage of life. You are going to hear that hope from Helen Levine. Helen is an absolute master at what she does because she's been through it. And you see, when you hear something tonight, when you hear something on this broadcast that moves you, just like when I was 26 years old, I said they had this baby in my belly or one in the bun in the oven. I went to this meeting. I saw additives and preservatives at this dining room table. This was allegedly, we had these unborn babies that were supposed to be given life through us. Then you're nursing a baby and you're going to be eating chips, nachos. Shall I go on? Brownies. I had to go way back to the table. There were the celery sticks. I didn't know that the international president of La Leche League International was at this meeting. I remember I said I had no filter back then. I've gotten better with age, mellowed as they say. But I put my hands on my hips and the side of my belly and said, what are we doing? Putting this in this and this? She said, well, you seem to know a lot about this. Why don't you do something about it? I was challenged. My ego gave rise. But you see, here I am 43 years later, knowing that if I hadn't had that spiritual sense of saying what was in my soul, there wouldn't have been others that would have gotten the message through me. So listen to the whispers of your own spiritual wisdom, because that is hope for you. Helen Levine will give you hope. Helen Levine will come back when you hear this and her riveting message. If you are moved and stirred, say, but can I do this? Can I make a difference? Spiritually, if you're called, you will be equipped. So my health and wealth, Helen Levine, has absolutely done this in her life in an extraordinary way. She makes a difference. She helps people heal themselves. Ooh, we're all about that. Their relationships, and she transforms their lives. She loves helping chronic singles. Yes, chronic singles need to perpetuate the species. They need to be in relationships to make chronic babies now, don't they? See, their true love is these chronic singles is to love themselves, and that version of themselves, Helen, goes deep inside and attracts them from their worth, their self-worth, and not their wounds. As you know, we pick out a pillar every single week to focus on life's milkshake moment. Well, tonight, I know you guessed it, we're focusing on the human pillar of the spiritual pillar. The spiritual tidbits that you will get will be extraordinary. But remember, you will be stirred spiritually, as Les Brown says, from the hunger of your heart. And when you fill your heart with those worthwhile things that you are worthy for and you hunger for, your mind will always find a way to achieve your desires. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we get back after this next commercial break, and our first one tonight, I want to tell you a little bit about this. Remember, it is Women's Empowerment Month. You can see our screen in the background that you'll be seeing this wonderful overlay from Power of a Woman, Ignite Your Life. And that is what we did. Gosh, can it be 1 year ago that we did exactly that? We did Power of a Woman, Ignite Your Life. My coach, my mentor of over 10 years, Jay Nolan, released a book. They're one of our sponsors, MYB Publishing, and he released a book, Power of a Woman, from the perspective of real men. Oh my goodness gracious. Is that one that you've got to pick up for a woman in your life? Is that one of this that you should pick up? Because guess what? MYB Publishing will be doing the next book that I am going to be doing after my solo book, The 21 Days to Your Best You, coming out in May 5th of this year. They will be doing our Foundations of Health. I'm happy to say that we're partnering with Ignite and they will be doing some consulting, but it will be published by MYB Publishing. But this book by Jay Noland, as you know, one of my other coaches, the esteemed, iconic Les Brown, wrote the foreword because he said he was birthed by one mother and he was given love by another. One man, two mothers, two love, so that I could find self-love. So if you're looking for an absolute amazing, just a gift, let's check out The Power of a Woman by MYB Publishing and Jay Noland from the perspective of real men. Take a look, take a listen. Contact jaynoland.net to get your hands on one of those signed limited editions, hardcover. It's a beautiful, absolute coffee table. Will never leave your coffee table book. And speaking of books, go ahead and go to drjod.com/books. You can get on in the know. On the next 6 weeks promotion, you can sign up for all the notifications, all the health and wealth things that I'm going to be doing. 21 podcasts over the next 6 weeks to get the word out as guests, because it's the 21 days to your best use, keys for a life of excellence. Great it will be for a graduation gift from the grad from high school to college, and just in time for other gift giving as well. So do that. And as I say, I want to thank you. I want to thank not only Confidence Tones, Viber 360, MYB Publishing, and businessfromhome.net, and of course, Ignite Publishing for being our fine sponsors. But if you would just like to give a little, it's like PBS. And if you're getting that feeling that you're getting a lot of value, it does cost money for these broadcasts. We would love to show you as our patrons, as we do at the end of each month. So go to my PayPal, which is paypal.me/Health Coach Jody, or Venmo at Jody-Bear. That's Jodee. I bet you figured that out by now. Or you can go at Bear Money, the sign Bear, my last name, BAER, Money, on Cash App. We'd love to have you. But speaking of loving to have somebody, oh, you get ready, you get ready, you get ready. This is Helen Levine. This is Helen Levine. Extraordinary woman, extraordinary in so many ways, and extraordinarily that we met on Jay Noland's Room, XP Mentor. When you find a great coach like Jay Noland, everything kind of leads back to that one person. But we connected. I love what she said. I loved who I felt her frequency through what she was saying in her voice, and I loved just her heart. I could feel it right away, and you will too. Helen Levine is a health and wealth coach, but she makes a difference. She makes a difference in every way. She loves to give people that help, as I said before, from their worth to their wounds, but she helps people who've been through therapy, coaches like myself. She helps them through self-help seminars and through her books. But perhaps people who are very successful on the outside, you crack the shell and they're like they haven't gotten through their cocoon. That's what Helen does. She does this through her books, and she does it through who she is being, so she can still feel like they can have a fulfilled life just as she has done for herself. I always say, if you lead one, you can lead many. So she helps people to break through their past, stop living from their triggers. Oh, that's a big one. Heal from their wounds. Oh, let's bring it on. they've collected these over and throughout their life. But how about rewriting your story? Won't that be great? I think it would, wouldn't you? And then they can show up, go up, and live consciously and confidently in the world, in the relationships, and of course, for their families. So, we are going to take just another commercial break from our sponsor, and this will be Ignite Publishing. Why? Because we're going to hear about Ignite possibilities. Why? Because Helen will give us those things that we will be all ignited about when I bring her up on stage. Ignite Publishing, just igniting the possibility in you. Take a look and take a listen. Well, sometimes it comes up and sometimes it doesn't. So we're going to do again because you always break through your possibilities now, don't you? Let's go.
Ignite possibilities. It's the idea that anything is possible. In fact, anything and everything is absolutely possible. We just need to start believing in that. There's a lot of conversations going on the planet, and one of them needs to be about possibilities. We need to inspire and ignite possibilities in all of our minds once again to believe that things are possible. We can change the planet when we step into the idea that what is possible is absolutely possible, and we can go after that. We can do that. We can dream more. We can aspire for more. We can have more. We can include more. We can create more. We just have to believe it. Start doing it, working in that direction, having that conversation, understanding that what's possible is truly impossible in each of us. Igniting possibilities, that's the idea. That's what we need to start talking about. Ignite possibilities in me, in you, in everyone, in humanity. When we raise ourselves up, we raise each other up. And when we start going after what's possible in our own lives, we give permission for everyone, every single person on the planet to go after what's possible for them. Ignite possibilities. Ignite a possibility in you. Ignite possibilities in someone else. And we can change the world.
So there you go. There you go. Ignite the possibility in you. So I will say, you can go to healthipedia.net. You can certainly do that from this vantage point, and you can go ahead and just go to our wonderful site for our books. But this is a delay that we don't need any longer. Helen Levine is going to be one that will rock this stage. And Helen, I'm going to say, welcome to our absolute podcast time to be together. And let's just rock this thing, shall we, beautiful woman on the inside and out?
Thank you, Jody. So excited to be here. Thank you for that amazing introduction.
I will give it to you just on a replay. So if you're wondering, oh my goodness gracious, if life's on you, I'm sure it does what everybody. You can say, well, Jody said this, and you can say just play it over in your affirmations. I promise you, it would be my honor. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's get into it, shall we? Because there is so much. I tell you, to have you in this audience with me and to have people experience you, this is like none other. Because Health and Wealth Coach, you can find her on the bottom of that ticker at Health and Wealth Coach on all social media. So take a picture of that ticker. We'll have, and I'm going to put it just like this first. There we go. I like that much better. And I'm going to say, before we get into this, she is bringing the 3.0 version of her website, and it will be coming soon, but it'll be all directed. Just go reach out to healthandwealthcoach.com, because after this, you are going to want to reach out. You will want, just like I do right now, to have this woman in your life. Helen, that's what I feel about you. So let's talk about your early beginnings. Tell our audience here about your past trauma and how that has propelled you forward.
Sure. Well, there was no lack of that in my upbringing and in my childhood. I come from humble beginnings. I came to US as an immigrant as a teenager, so I did not speak any English, and that in itself was a whole lot of layers of trauma. But prior to that, I already came in with a lot of just inner child issues from my upbringing. I come from a lineage of, first of all, my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. So that in itself, as I came to realize years and decades later, propelled my parents and their whole upbringing to be a certain way because there were wounds that perpetuated, throughout the lineage. But as a child, you don't know that as you're being raised, with. So I suffered with a whole lot of anxiety issues, debilitating anxiety, panic attacks. I had a lot of that to deal with. And then there was a lot of health issues, chronic health conditions that doctors for years were just kind of, we'll try this pill and try that and we'll figure it out. And so it was always this journey of kind of seeking answers for feeling better, for snapping out of it. Because I wasn't really living. I was sort of surviving in this, living in a survival mode, which a lot of people are, and dealing with a lot of that anxiety. It's like you're not really present. I was not fully there, and anyone that struggles with anxiety knows that. So I had PTSD from a number of experiences in my childhood. I don't want to go into a lot of it because that's not really the focus. The focus is really what came out of all of it. And it was really the journey of trying to find answers and solutions that really led me to become who I am, and ultimately to find my calling, which was always there, was to also help others so that they don't have to suffer the way that I did. And because the truth is that healing and the ability to live our fully fulfilled whole life is present and available to all of us. It's just that we're so disconnected from our inner truth and from the knowledge and that knowing, that universal knowledge, really, it is available. And when we tune into it, when we start to tune into, I know you've mentioned in your intro, to start to listen to our intuition, to start to connect to who we are without all the story, without all the trauma, without all the conditioning and the programming, that's when really that person that we've always been and are meant to be shines and shows up in a very different way. So essentially you become a different version of yourself.
So I want to just ask you a quick question in here, because did you say that you had, it was your grandparents, Holocaust survivors?
Yeah. It was, so their families were wiped out in the Holocaust.
Yes, genetically, that's why you are here, because you were born with the gene to survive, and you've taken it to the next level. I just felt it in my spirit. I wanted to honor you. You have taken that lineage from Holocaust survivor to thriver. So congratulations. Okay, continue on.
And the truth is, I actually had that. Maybe I will share it here with you briefly because it has so much to do with it. When I had that realization that I still carried my ancestors' Holocaust trauma in my cellular DNA, the way I found it was through an out-of-body experience during a medical procedure. I was literally taken out of body. It's like I was there in the torture chamber. I felt it. I experienced it. And that was a shocking and yet very fascinating moment that, again, propelled that next level where I was able to now tap into not just my own, not just my clients' wounds and traumas and inner child stuff and sometimes in the womb stuff, but also that deep realization that we're so connected to our lineage and we do carry in our cellular memory, even though it's not in our consciousness and our awareness, it is still in our cells, in our DNA, the memory of the pain that our ancestors went through and whatever that was, physical, emotional, different types. And interestingly, science is now evolving and sharing a lot of that truth, which before it was always kind of like, ooh, it's woo-woo, it's weird,
Well, we've come from controversy to mainstream. I said that to Dr. Bernie Siegel, who'll be writing in our Foundations of Health book as promoting our book. And he said, if you live long enough and you do the work long enough, you'll go from controversy to awakening and mainstream.
Exactly.
So you took this, and I want to go into this real big, and you, because people stay in their story, they stay in this, and they want to get unstuck, but they don't even realize how stuck they are. And you went to break the chains of burnout. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this again. Burnout, that's 90% of all executives. Poverty,
Yeah.
that's 60% in the world. And generational change, I think that's all of us that transcend toxic relationships. Helen, you're living proof. Break these things 1, 2, 3, 4 down for us. How did you do it?
Absolutely. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching women, sharing this truth, because we are all a product of our conditioning, of our upbringing. And depending on where you came from, that lineage, that the stories that have been created, the really the nonsense and the programs that created your own belief systems, we end up creating our own rules and our own limitations. And so for me, I lived in that, especially being an immigrant. It was important. Our parents really brought us to, here you are in this country of possibilities. Go make something of yourself, go build a future. And it was always sort of with an imposed belief of it has to be a certain career path. It has to be a certain structure. You have to follow certain rules, certain steps. And so I never really fit into that. Like my whole soul was always rebelling, but there was that conditioning that I kind of followed, so I did that whole thing. I went to college, I got my degree, and I continued on with all this education and more and more and more. And it was like, when is it enough? And I was always building somebody else's empires. I was always structured in my career paths to work for someone and not to break away and not to follow my truth. And so there was always this calling that was there underneath it all. And while I was working in my full-time job, I changed my career 3 times. Each time it was like I lived it, I loved it, and then boom, there was a moment when I was no longer resonating.
You were not it. It was not your passion. It was not your deepest desire for you. Now, was it?
It was not. But I came to realize that there were stepping stones throughout my careers that actually were guiding me to become this version of me that I am today. They were the stepping stones that needed to help me get out of my shell, get out of my comfort zone, push me a little bit, nudge me. And when that calling became very loud, that's when I finally, I remember I said to my family, I said to my boss, I said, that's it, I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. I have to go and live my purpose. And people around were like, are you sure? What are you talking about? You're going to give up your career? You're going to give up your comfort, your success, your comfortable, cushy salary and living and everything? Are you crazy? And I was like, I can't explain it. I just know it. It's this deep knowing that I had to follow. That was it. There was no doubt anymore. It was like very clear that I was either going to do this or else. And the or else option did not feel good at all.
You know what Jay Nolan says about this? There's no other option. No other option. It's just, that is it. That is, so you felt the no other option. And that was that, no, I can't do that anymore. Say it's no with an extra O. No other option. And as we said, as we had our soulful private time before we started our show, you see, you listened to that wisdom that was inside of you. It was above you, around you, behind you, and in you. So congratulations for doing that. And that's fine if you're in corporate America. We need people to do that thing, but you knew that wasn't for you. So I just want to honor you for that, Helen. Seriously.
I appreciate that.
Yes. Yes.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
No, but it's so not easy, but it's worth it. So you said, no other option. No. And you went in. What was the next step? We've got time.
It takes courage, but I think that's where we're also misaligned. We're disconnected from that courageous part of ourselves that's there, and it knows the truth. So throughout my life, I've had a lot of people tell me, "You're so lucky, you found this job that you love," or "You're so lucky you found this career that you love." And then I was like, "I'm not lucky. I just followed what felt right, and and whatever didn't, I walked away." So it was this
soulful. You were not lucky. You were soulful.
Yeah. And I guess it's a different way of living, right? So a lot of people are much more following the logic, and the logic is very often trapped in the story. And the story is very often trapped in somebody else's truth, not your own.
Amen.
And so for me, it's vital to listen to my own truth. And so I had to deprogram myself really for years and deprogram the many years and many layers of somebody else's truths that I initially thought were my own. But the more I was connecting to the story and realizing that this is me and then this is my story, and realizing that, wait a second, I don't have to believe all of that. I can actually change the story. I can rewrite my story. So with each realization, that's when I was doing that. I was becoming the living proof of everything that I teach, which is why I'm so passionate about this, because while it's not easy and it does take some courage, the truth is it's not easy to remain stuck. It actually is worse. It's a lot more difficult to live disconnected from your truth than it is to step into it. That's the one thing that I've definitely come to see. And that story is what ultimately keeps us stuck. It's actually the first step in the method that I developed that I teach consistently.
And you said courage is, say that gem one more time, please, Helen.
I don't even know what I said.
Okay, I believe it was, because I wanted to put this up. Courage is stepping in to living your truth.
Yeah, it's really being in alignment with your truth, because it takes courage to live your truth, but it takes more strength and actually waste a lot of your energy not to listen to your truth.
Yeah.
You really waste a lot of that pure potential and become more disconnected from yourself when you listen to that logic. And so while it's great, of course, to weigh all the pros and cons and to follow the logic, I find it's really important. And interestingly, most really high level, high achievers, financial executives, any level executives, if you listen to any really successful entrepreneurs, they always follow their intuition, while the logic is there to support it. So I kind of live in that way.
Well, as I was saying about Helen Keller, where would she be? And I used that quote earlier. Where would she be if she didn't go ahead and say, I'm never going to be at the power of my emotions? She didn't give in to her emotions. Because that emotional brain creates magic. Courage is living your truth. Okay, you brand that. Okay, it's yours. We put it up on screen. I had a typo. I was just going like this. We're going to brand that. So, oh my goodness gracious, how beautiful that is. And so you created this company. You started living your truth because you created courage from no, there was no other option. Okay, what was your next step?
The next step was to continue living my truth, but to ultimately share it with others. So interestingly, I was always a manifester. And for years, when I was understanding and learning the whole process of manifestation, and when I first began learning the lessons of the law of attraction, it was not all connected, because a lot of people are also kind of like, oh, it doesn't work, or, what is this? It's all magic and woo-woo. But it is really the laws of the universe, whether we believe them or not, they're there, right? And so emotions, it's interesting that you brought up Helen Keller. It's one of the first things that I realized too, is that when I lived in my old stories, there was always an emotional component, and it was always negative, and it was dragging me into the past. It was dragging me into the trauma. I was continuously being triggered but by something that happened in the past, which is how a lot of people continue to live. And so the way that I now help all of my clients is to actually become aware and to process all of those unprocessed emotions, which do keep us stuck, and to resolve all of those past traumas and conditioning and programs, and which leads to also a whole new mindset. It's all deeply interconnected.
Of course.
Because that's when we start to create very different actions and behaviors and habits and patterns, which of course end up leading to completely different results in our lives.
Destinies, patterns, habits, patterns, destiny.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I am a firm believer that we do have that. I've seen it in my own, I've seen it in countless lives, that we have that ability, that we have that option, and it comes down to choice. It's a choice to remain stuck, and it's a choice to heal, and it's a choice to change your life, whether it's your relationships you're not happy with, or it's your career, or it's your own life and your own relationship with yourself. You have a choice and an ability innately to change that. And it's just the question of, are you willing to step into that?
And I mean, and I, I'm always one for the rhyming things. We've spent some really precious time on the phone together. This is the first time I've seen your beautiful face, except, on this, that, the other, IG and whatever. But I'm just thinking, you beautiful soul, inside and out, for sure. Helen, you know how you have your tagline that says "Ha"? That's part of HAW.
It's the health and wealth. Yeah.
I know it's health and wealth. I'm giving you a new one today. Guess what?
Ooh.
Ha comes from the law, because health and wealth with you comes from the law of attraction. Really, I mean, your health and wealth is your law. I mean, that is so apparent that you've taken it. And because people have been attracted to you, because you take those barriers and boundaries. Before we go on to this next big one, I told you, we had a lot to unpack here, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else about those 4 components that you want to share?
Well, I want to say that, first of all, our health and our wealth and our self-love, those are not a commodity. It's something that we need to really align with and understand that we deserve it always, no matter what.
Yes.
It's something that is there. And it's your innate birthright to experience unconditional love, to live your very best life. And you do deserve all the best in life. So it's all about reconditioning those old patterns, rewriting that story to match whatever your beliefs are, your desires are, because usually there's a misalignment. People come to me and they're like, I don't understand. I've tried it all. I've done it all, but I'm still stuck. And I always say it's because you need to bridge this gap between your conscious desire, which is there in your conscious mind, and your unconscious patterns and your vibration, which is not in alignment with your desire. So if you want to reach that, if you want to cross that bridge, you just simply need to bridge that gap between the unconscious and the conscious. And that's where I'm really, I shine at that.
Yes, you do. Well, you shine at everything, but I mean, that's for real. And what a beautiful segue into the third biggie here, Helen. You took your past experience, okay, but you translated it, you transformed. And I wanted to say, you didn't stay troubled. And that's why you're a 1%er. That's where I met you in that first club at Clubhouse. That's why you are one to have as a mentor, because you will water those seeds with your garden, your little, since it's spring, with your little watering can, and you will grow. I guarantee you. I know a 1%er when I see it. I know somebody who is a balcony professional that I want in my whole life, and that's you, because you feel better. I do when I'm around you. Your clients do as well. I know that's a part of it, but you took this and translated that into passion, and you help people break free from generational trauma. We said limiting beliefs and unconscious blocks, but everyone has that inner wisdom. And I'd like to spend the last, 7 or 8 minutes here to go into that, because Helen, that's it. There's nothing better than that. That ignites your life. For women, that's health and wealth. It's what we do in all 6 pillars. And it's the power of a woman, knowing that this is Women's Empowerment Month. And guys, if you've got a powerful woman around you, you get it too. So we're not leaving you out on that. But so much is in that, because you're living the law of attraction. I know this. But if you can just take these next few minutes, can you think of one story that you may have, that a testimony? I know you've got confidentiality that you could be general, because we are practitioners. I would love to hear what just how this happened for someone, and whatever else you would like to share.
For my clients, there's so many.
I know. Just pick one or two.
Okay, so I was working with this one client years ago, where she said that there was a business with a product, and she was happy to share that she was breaking even, but she knew that it was meant to go big, and yet it wasn't happening. So we worked on actually clearing some money blocks, which very interestingly, in her case, came from her husband. I uncovered some from literally about a decade before. about his fears and beliefs being projected onto her, which was very interesting. It was an aha moment for me. And anyway, to make a long story short, her products, literally, she got invited to send her product catalog to a giant chain of Las Vegas stores and hotels for the first time, literally like a week or two after the clearance session. And the products are now being sold everywhere, which is insane. So that's
a breakthrough. That's a breakthrough. And you are like the miracle maker. Yeah, but you are.
Well,
congratulations.
I always say I'm not, and I always tell everyone, do not give your power away to any healer, to any guru, because you're the one that does the work. I am grateful to be able to facilitate that journey, to bring up the blocks, to point, whatever it is, but it's within all of us. We have that ability. However, if someone needs a little help, I'm certainly happy to be there as that catalyst, because a lot of my clients do call me their success catalyst or activator.
Yeah, the activator is good through the universe. So do you have another one?
I have a whole lot of singles that are now happily unsingle, whether married, engaged, or living with their boyfriends, girlfriends. It's become a thing. At first I was like, ooh, that's a coincidence. And then another coincidence. And then they started to refer each other. And the interesting part was I'm talking about like chronic singles, the ones that never really had a healthy, successful relationship long-term. And a reason behind is the same, the underlying reason, whether it's for the lack of love, the relationships, the lack of success financially, is always because of those stories and the mindset and the energetic vibration that you're in alignment with, scarcity, lack, or belief that you're not loving or lovable or deserving enough or worthy enough. Whatever those underlying layers are, once you peel them away and you kind of clear that debris, then you become that version of you that's always been there underneath all that baggage. And then that becomes
plain sight. Yes.
Right. So that love has always been there, that abundance, that wealth, that success has always been there waiting for you. It's just that you were unable to open that door due to those old patterns. And so we clear those patterns. And I teach this in my group programs now for women, where I actually teach them how to do this themselves. And then on top of it, I always offer the one-on-ones where I do the energetic clearing that I call time travel healing, where we do go back in time and clear some of those really unconscious layers that, some of them have been to therapy and have not reached. But it's something that anyone has certainly the ability and the power to do that for yourselves.
And by golly, having the ability to empower, I'm thinking that you don't think that a chair being dropped off from the Titanic would make a ripple. It'll make a ripple throughout the Atlantic Ocean. It may not have sunk. That's the kind of power that comes into. So I know that you have several things going on. I mean, I want you to, if that's okay. I mean, you're not going to give away all your secret sauce, because you're going to want to reach out to Helen Levine. I promise you. She is one who knows how to clear the blocks, because she has cleared the blocks with herself. She has seen how things, when she says in alignment. So if you're thinking, well, let's just, if you want to get over being the leaning tower of pizza, she's a woman. If you want to decide that there's going to be a ring on your finger, guess what? She's one to get the ring on the finger, and she's the one to make your product soar, as she said, for these products to be everywhere. But it's not her, because she lives that soulful life, because she said, no, there was no other option. It was your time, your moment, and your life had been waiting for this, Helen. So I would love for you to just give a generic example. If our audience has never heard of, well, what's a clearing? How do I get in alignment?
Mm-hmm. So the time travel healing is something that I do one-on-one, because that would be very hard to do like in a group. That's where I literally tap in intuitively, very quickly, within seconds, and go straight into whether it was some trauma, conscious or unconscious. So a lot of my clients exclaim, I hear it a lot, it's like, oh my God, how did you find what years of therapy never got to? And it's because it's deeply unconscious. So it's like you don't know what you don't know. But once we get there, oh my God, here's a wild story. I had a girl that got pregnant after years of trying, and she couldn't get pregnant. And I met her and I said, because it's not physical. And she's a medical professional.
Of
And
course.
she's like, what do you mean it's not physical? Like, imagine telling a physician or some, that it's not physical. And I was like, well, because you need to forgive that childhood pain. And she's like, what are you talking about? How did you just go there? And she started crying anyway. So I just did it. I went there right there with her into the energetic, emotional state. We cleared some of these patterns. 5 days later, she was pregnant. It was incredible. She gave birth to a beautiful baby boy now, sent me an amazing card. It's right here. It was just so gratifying.
Life. You gave life. You give hope. You give wisdom. You give healing. So in our last remaining moments, Helen, so if you want to, I guess we'll say, if you want to upgrade your business, if you want to get a ring on your finger, if you want to heal past traumas, or if you want to get pregnant,
or heal your relationship with your husband or wife, or your children, which is huge.
It is Women's Empowerment Month.
Yeah.
What do you have in store? How can people reach out to you? What kind of offer? Give us two good ones, because I know you have so many.
So first of all, I'm super excited. Well, there's a few things. I am expecting my big book to launch this summer. So I'm definitely going to be sharing as that's evolving, because I'm now in production mode with that. And in the meantime, I have a completely free ebook that I am finishing up. It should be available in the next 2 weeks. So if anyone is interested, just reach out, send me a DM on Instagram at Health and Wealth Coach, and I will just send you a link to get that. And that's on actually unveiling generational trauma, unveiling that whole mystery, understanding what it is, how it affects your life. So I wrote an ebook just for that, so that that awareness will come through, because I am all about that ripple effect that you mentioned. My whole mission is to create a ripple effect and elevate the collective consciousness, to elevate the frequency of the collective, to heal, because I'm a firm believer, as we heal ourselves, we heal our lineage, we heal people around ourselves, our families, and we do create that ripple effect, which is tremendous.
You are all the way to the coast of, well, because we both lived on the East Coast, to the Atlantic, to Europe. Okay, and what is your last one?
And I do offer a discovery call for anyone that's interested, to make sure whether or not we're the right match to work together. Or if you have any questions, I'm always happy to help, to at least throw some guidance solutions. Feel free to DM me on Instagram regarding that. My website is healthandwealthcoach.com, and it's being fully revamped right now. So the current version is kind of glitchy, I believe, as my team is working on that. And I just want to remind everyone to focus on what you're grateful for today and every day, because that is huge. It's a great way to disconnect from the focus on the pain that we often tend to focus on, and to actually realign with your desire, with your inner truth, and just focus on no matter what the small thing that you're grateful for today.
Gratitude. That's a beautiful way. I could continue this, you know it, but I'm looking at the time. Helen, I am grateful for you in my life. You have absolutely such heart and hope, and you live your truth. That is very, very apparent. And I know we're going to come back. You've got a standing invitation when your book is ready to launch. Let's come back on Traverse TV. And I would love and be honored to help you launch your book. I've done many of those, but you know, the thing that comes, you can rewrite your story. You can recondition, and you can restart and rejuvenate, as we said, because your health can be wealth, and that can be in all 6 pillars. Thank you, Helen, for what you do in this world. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being my guest. And I just love you with my whole heart. You know who our next and our final commercial is? From Confidence Tones. You know about that. Programming and unprogramming the conscious mind. So I'm going to say, my dear, ciao for now. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen to Confidence Tones and Brain Immersion.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good
remember, we're back to confidence tones. Brain immersion will help you with that unconscious mind. And I do apologize. I know that we're getting a little bit of a delay from StreamYard, but guess what? Just like we breaking those chains, we go through it, we make it happen no matter what. That's what Helen's message is. That's who she is. And I know that you were as moved as I was. Make sure that you go to confidencetones.com. You can find these, you can find my books that you're going to want to be a part of the wait list. Everything is there at drjod.com. So I want to end this broadcast with just really, really giving honor to Helen, giving honor to the warrior from within. But guess what? If she did it and can do it and is still doing it, so can you, because it's necessary. As Les Brown says, it is necessary to accept the responsibility for you and your life. Know that it is you who can get you where you want to go and no one else. You see, the most important thing is that you do it. So get ready. If you want to do with us our foundational health book, do it. If you want to get the next version of you, we have a plan to do it. If you have those pounds to lose, do it. If you want to, I guess we learned here in women's empowerment, you heal your healthy relation, you're healthy from an unhealthy relationship, you get pregnant. I know that in my practice, I've had over 400 people do the same thing with this type of thing. I know, Helen, we are going to be doing this work together forever, because health isn't something you do. It is what you become along life's journey. Just remember, hope stands for healing, opportunity, positivity, and empowerment. That is my true spiritual message, always has been, because there's hope. There is hope from your broken pieces. Helen has the puzzle to put it back together again. And frankly, I am so excited. Monday, we'll be back here on Milkshake Monday. That is this coming March 30th. Talk about breaking chains from being way overweight to and going through chronic illness of cystic fibrosis. He is in remission as a young 23-year-old. And Ivan Jacobs, the son of the Kim Jacobs, where I'm on Freestyle Fridays on her show all the time. And frankly, he is now a certified fitness trainer. That's a story of mindset now, isn't it? And on Thursday from Milkshake Moment, we have visionary Sahar Nadal, and she will be my guest on Thursday. So DM me at Health Coach Jody to pre-order your copy of not only Ignite the Hunger in You, Ignite Wisdom, the new book coming out, Ignite Your Faith, but to be on the wait list for 21 Days to Your Best You, Keys for the Life of Excellence. And know that all my book proceeds go to my charity, and that is in Colombia. It is the charity that bridges the elderly that want a purpose and children that need to look up to an adult who are orphans. The orphans and the elderly, we built a center in Colombia, and it's called La Casa Ropa de Sobre. So all proceeds of my books go to serving this foundation that we have created. It's about giving back, and I know that you will feel the same way. Remember, it is not over, as Les Brown says, until you win. So until next time, until we go and do this thing that we call this next week in this thing called life, we will be back here again, and it will be happy spring on the 20th. My goodness gracious. And just make it your season to be the best that you can be, because you've spent this time not only with Helen Levine, but with Health Coach Jody. So until next time, life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely, and when you do, your life will be oh so sweet. Ciao for now.